super happy to be joined here at IG Field by Andrew Jean-Baptiste. How you doing, man?
Pleasure. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. We're here. We're preseason. The season itself is starting, I think, just over a week from now for you guys, for Valour. Let's just start with what preseason has been like for you guys, how excited you guys are to be back and to get going.
I mean, the energy in the room from the first day has been amazing, very positive, and you can see from the guys that everybody's all eager to get back into it. You know, these off seasons are not exactly the easiest to deal with, but the desire to get back on the pitch from everybody is what's pushing us more and more every day.
I think so. You guys didn't necessarily have to wait as long for the season to start this year. We're in April and we're not in a bubble.
No. Oof, gosh.
I don't think that you've ever actually played for Valour outside of a bubble.
Sadly, I haven't.
So it's got to be exciting to be kind of coming into a more normal season, right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's what I've been accustomed to. It's what I've grown into playing all these years, and so yeah, it is something to look forward to. You know, to actually have a full season with this club under my belt. You know, by the praise of God, healthy of all things. But with this team going into it, it's promising, you know. And I think last year, since I've been here, there's been a lot of promising moments with this team, and I think that's something to keep in mind. When this season starts, because I think we're capable of doing great things this year.
Yeah, certainly last season started really well for you guys. You know, those big wins, and you personally looked like you're gonna have an amazing season, right? But then, as we all know, injury comes, and that's tough.
Yeah.
Let's talk about just yourself personally and what it was like to kind of have that cut short and what the recovery was like.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the game. There's nothing you can avoid. It's the inevitable. There's some injuries that are going to keep people out longer than others. You know, some have small injuries that keep them out for a while, and some have big ones where people are able to recover faster. So it's part of the game. It was a big punch in the face. You know, having to deal with it, and honestly, from when the moment it happened, my mindset was like, "Is this really what it feels like?" Like I couldn't, you know, wrap my head around it. Like, you know, wow, you know, thinking back to like so many of my friends and former teammates of mine, like they all like flash in my head, all in such a quick moment as I was on the floor, and you know, and just seeing them and when they did it, and now I'm here experiencing the same thing and seeing how a lot of them have gotten stronger and better and became great players themselves, or even if they're not playing, but they're still, you know, they still were able to overcome it. You know what I mean? And that's what I knew, you know, I have a task ahead of me that I'm gonna have to do the exact same thing. And, you know, having people who've done it before and, you know, prevailed is somewhat motivating to me, knowing that I can do the exact same thing, but it's gonna require me to put the work in if I want to achieve those same things.
Yeah, a lot of players that you talk to that go through those sorts of injuries, you know, they talk about that support structure and how important it is in terms of, you know, getting back to health. You kind of stuck around the team, right, after that happened?
Always, yeah.
Yeah. How important was it to you to be with that group? And I know that you're obviously an important guy on the team, on and off the pitch, so I'm sure that they appreciated it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard in the beginning. For me, my football it's like my everything, to be fair. You know, my family knows it's football and family and friends in that order. But like my family back home, they're a football family too. You know, my mom's a president, my dad and my brother are also coaches. You know what I mean? So we understand as far as what football means to all of us. So so with that being said, it made it real hard for the next several games after that injury, you know, to be around the bubble, around everybody. You know, I went from being the guy that, you know, everybody was like looking up to, and the opponents would, you know, look at me in the hotel, and it's like, oh, that's that guy, you know. And then, you know, you went from being that guy to that guy in crutches, and you know, it was it's such a fast, you know, change of scenarios. You know, you go from walking around playing, and then now you're like limping around the hotel. And for me, that it kind of got at me. It got under my skin a bit. And the next several games after the bubble, it was a bit hard. It was a bit hard for me to honestly come out and watch games. You know, the guys understood in this scenario. But I mean, I came out, did whatever I could, but just to actually watch was so painful for me to actually watch it, because you know, not just how much football is important to me, but it's like I felt like I let the team down in a way, you know, because, you know, a few losses were starting to rack up and stuff like that, and it kind of ate at me more and more. And even though obviously I'm not the culprit for it, you know what I mean? I didn't go into the field, go on the field and score an own goal or something, but, you know, it sat with me, and, you know, I felt like I was part to blame for it, but in reality, I know I wasn't. And then, you know, after I was able to like overcome my own demons, I was able to get out there more for my team, apart from just being in the locker room, because that's when I was vocal. Mm-hmm. But it was just like out to the field is kind of where I kind of drifted off because I didn't want to be around the field. Yeah. But then after that, after I overcame that, then I was out there, you know. And then a new coach came in, and it was like, and then he sees me being vocal as I was, and it was like, okay, we like this, you know. Yeah. Now, if he had seen me prior when I was still in like my cave, who knows what kind of perception he would have had of me. But I called at a good time, and, you know, I'm not saying, once again, I'm not the voice of power for the team or anything in that sense, but, you know, they started doing better, you know, with the new coach that came in, and, you know, guys started having a new drive to them. So with that, once again, all that being said, it makes it a whole lot more motivating for me to get back to what this team was, because when I saw what they ended off the season as, it was just like, damn, this team could have done it. Mm-hmm. Really could have, you know. And now that just pushed me more. Coach came in with a plan, and it makes you eager to get back on the field. And that's how I felt since then.
You mentioned obviously Phil Dos Santos coming in, and I'm sure that he's very excited to see you on the pitch in a game.
Yeah.
But before I ask you about him and him coming in, just one more about yourself. You know, last season when you were playing, you were, as you said, you were the man. Like, you were probably the best center back in the league for those few games that you were still there. You know, certainly an incredible, important player to this team. How confident are you that you can, you know, maybe not miss a beat, get back to that level when you're back on the pitch this year?
Well, one thing about me, you'll learn this as well. I'm a very positive, reinforcing guy, and I try to be confident without sounding cocky or, you know, conceited in ways. But when I'm back, I'm back. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. It's I'm not gonna miss a beat when I get back on it, you know, because I know the game, I like the game, I love the game. So when I know that I'm back out there, and, you know, there's not a thought in my mind about what I sustained the year prior, I'm not gonna miss a beat. I promise you that. Well, knock on wood. I'm a little superstitious.
Just a little bit, but I think we're definitely all hoping to see the same player that we saw at the start of last season.
For sure.
But yeah, Phil Dos Santos comes in midway through last season, and I think towards the end of the season we started to see things turning around a little bit more after a bit of a tougher stretch in the middle of the season for this club. You missed the playoffs by just barely that much, right? What has kind of this preseason felt like? You know, your first time kind of training under Phil. Like, what is he like as a coach as well?
He is a man with a plan. That's one, and a man of structure, a man of discipline. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that, along with, as for any team in this league, because you have to keep in mind we have a lot of young Canadian players coming into this league. Yeah. And with that being said, is they need a lot of structure. A lot of it. And, you know, you see a lot of the coaches in this league, a lot of them got that out of their players. And, you know, some haven't. That doesn't mean anything to their coaching or anything. It's just that when Phil came in here, he brought in a presence that was, how to say, it made some guys shake in their boots.
Right.
And for me, I love that. I absolutely love that, because no one should ever feel comfortable that, yeah, I'm gonna just roll out there and stroll and just do whatever I want. And for me, I'm not trying to talk about like, oh, you gotta rule by fear, you know what I mean? But it was more of he's not gonna allow any of the BS, you know, to go down on the field or go down the locker room. He's gonna nip it on the butt, and then this is how we're gonna move forward, and this is how we're gonna be, and that's what we needed. And you know, at times that's what we needed, and it shows, and that's why I feel like we are on a good path, especially with him steering the ship.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned, you know, how many young Canadian players are on this team, because obviously you yourself aren't originally Canadian, but you've come into this group and you seem to have really bought into kind of the club and what you guys are building in Winnipeg. How important has that been to you?
Amazingly important. You know, I'm involved with the Valour Academy as well, and you know, seeing from outside of just just the Valour and the CPL, and you start seeing what Manitoba and Winnipeg has to offer as far as other football talent. Because you know, we have this joke in the locker room quite a bit. It's like, oh, who's the best player to come out of Manitoba? You know,
right?
Derek Scott, obviously, but
of course.
Apart from the just for the guys side, you know, we take digs at it. It's like, oh, you know, Raph, maybe Fed's, Federico's brother Thomas, he's in Vancouver Academy right now, and you know, we say Boost doesn't sometimes, and you know, it's because Boost is not here anymore. It kind of fuels everybody.
He's a rival now.
Exactly, you know, it sort of fuels everybody up. Like, yeah, boy, I want to be the best. It was like, all right, good.
Yeah,
be the best, lad. Now, how are we gonna get there? Like, how do we take that energy and use it constructively to kind of get us and you what you want? And you know, and that's kind of where I come into it, as because I had the pleasure of coming up with great mentors in my career, and without them, like my mentors growing up, coming up through the professional years, have meant more to me than the coaches I've had.
Right.
You know, like I can name off a few at the top of my head: Jack Drewsbury, Pamaduka, had my Portland, Footy Donzo, Donovan Ricketts, you know, Dax McCarthy, you know, right. Lloyd Sam. Like, these are guys that they made more of an impact on me than my own coaches. And I saw that being so important, because sometimes players are not going to get it out of their coaches. They're looking for that feedback, and sometimes they're not going to get it. Yeah. You know, you're not always going to get an answer out of your coach. You're not always, but I can give you an answer, because you know, I'm not saying I know all, but because of the conversations I've had with coach, I know what he's looking for, and right. I help just try to, you know, make it easier for them to understand it, and I let them know, like, yo, this is what it takes. This is what you need to do, and you do it, you're gonna be amazing. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. Daryl does it as well. Daryl has almost 20 years of experience. You know, coming up came up in the English system, and you know what I mean. Like, so, and whenever I say anything, and I kind of look for him as like my reassurance, like, does you approve him of it? I don't want to say without, you know, because he knows all. Him and like Galan or, you know, Gallardo or Arnold that we had, like, these are guys with experience that you need in a locker room with young guys to provide that guidance, because they're going to make a bigger impact on these players than any coach, I feel like. And, you know, and I think with our locker room and the guys that we had in here, as far as guidance and everything, I think we are going to have one of those teams where our youth players are going to be some of the most promising in the league. And I stand behind that 100%.
That's kind of what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of kind of the original goal of the CPL is to help these young Canadian players, especially. So let's just maybe zero in on this team heading into this season. A lot of guys coming back from last year, but also some new faces in the squad. What is the kind of feeling around this group, and how good you guys could be this year?
The feeling is, we know that we are capable. But at the end of the day, football, it changes every game per game. The person you have winning could just lose, get their butt whooped. It just happens like that. Yeah. But with the guys on this team, a lot of them are coming very motivated, they have a lot of desire to go into this season and put out everything that they need to, you know. And occasionally you get those attacking guys that, you know, they take a few plays off defensively. Not with some of these guys. You know, you got attacking defensive guys that, you know, they always want to attack and forget their defensive responsibilities. You know, like, everybody is getting well acclimated with their roles and what they need to do. And when I know when I look at it, I've been on the outside for a while now. You know, and I've basically just been watching this team mature in so many ways. You know, that I look at them, I'm like, gosh, these guys can do it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it still takes you know, that mental stability, that mental strength, and the desire to put in your leg, your arm, your chest, your whatever it is to prevent a team from scoring, or to get that tap in goal or something. Are you willing to? What's this expression? I was actually just talking about it earlier with our goalie coach Patrick. How bad the need to succeed has to be as badly as you want to breathe. Right. You know, you have to be desperate for it. You have to be anything. You're gasping for it. You want. That's how badly you have to want to win. Yeah. And I think that's the mentality in this team that has been growing more and more and more. Because shoot, we're tired of losing.
Yeah.
We're tired of that.
Yeah.
You know,
Nobody likes
you've seen it, we dealt with it, no one likes it, but now we're done with that. Now we know what we need to do, and I think that's the mentality in our room that's going to be different than the years before.
As we mentioned, the season gets underway really soon, but before I talk about that first game, there's a game a little bit further down the road that I do want to ask about, because you got your Canadian Championship draw. You guys are going to go to BC Place and play the Whitecaps. We've seen CPL teams take on the MLS teams. We've seen 2 CPL teams beat the Whitecaps. It's your turn to try. How excited are you guys for that game?
It feels amazing. It's honestly like the moment the draw happened, coach went into the chat. Welcome to the jungle, boys. I love that. And we have the group to do it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it comes down to what happens in those 90 minutes. You know. But guys are very, 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 very motivated for that game, and I'm glad they are. Also, you have to remember that's not the only game in our season. It's not a one game and done kind of thing. But kind of use that to fuel you through all those games. So when you get to that game, you've had this record of success that you go into where your confidence is through the roof.
Yeah.
You can't be naive, but your confidence at least is high. Because you're going into it with a few losses and it's like but nah. If we go into it with positive energy, I think we will come out. I don't want to say that. I think we'll do well.
Okay. I
think we'll do very well. And how the results may come out, I don't know. But I know for sure, as far as in the team, we will do well. Yeah. Results is nothing. But for me, I'd rather it to be great performance, a great effort put out there, and then lose than to lose and we didn't put in enough effort out there.
That's what you can hope for, and I'm sure the experience itself will be something important, especially for the younger players. And obviously, as you alluded to, I don't think there's a lot of people that wanted to draw the Whitecaps more than Phil Dos Santos.
Oh God! Everybody's like scared to draw an MLS team. Like, no. Get them early.
Absolutely.
I'd rather get them early and then deal with a CPL team after that. I wouldn't want it vice versa. What, to be happy that you made it to the next round? What is that? No. I feel better being in the next round knowing that we beat them and got there. Like it was rightfully earned or something. You know what I mean? Like. I mean, not to say anything about the guys that drew a team from, I don't know those other teams. I think they're in like League One,
League
Ontario.
One team and the PLSQ team.
Yeah, okay, yeah, one of those teams. Yeah, that's one of those games, you're expected to win that game.
Right.
They're expected to win that game. Nah, this game I like, because everybody's expecting Vancouver to win. And then when you put it on them, that's when it's like, oh. Pacific put it on them, then it was like, oh, everybody changed their mindset about Pacific after they put it on them, didn't they?
Yep.
There you go. That's our statement game.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one to circle on the calendar, but I'm sure another one that you guys have circled is that first game in like a week and a half from now.
April, Edmonton. Yeah.
You guys go to Edmonton. What are you most looking forward to about just getting back on the pitch and playing that first game?
For me, personally, what I look for in that first game would be, good question. Because there's a lot of things I would want to look for, but that's actually surprisingly not that easy of a question to answer. Because you can name off like 5 things, but it's just like which one do you want to prioritize over the others? For me, it's matching the level and intensity as my teammates. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be the person that brings them down or any sort of way, because then at that point I would have to accept that the team has moved on past me and I'm playing catch up. But yeah, that would for me. I think that would be the most important thing for me, is that when I come into the team, regardless of what game that it is, I'm not bringing the team down, because I've seen how much the team has been progressing over these last several months since my injury. I've seen them progress. So by the time I get in there, I don't want to be the reason why they're taking steps back, because the team has been doing so well to move forward in these last 9 months since I've been out, right? So that's my biggest take back from going into these games.
Absolutely. Well, I know that we at the league are certainly happy to have you back around, and I'm sure that your whole team is very happy to see you. But Andrew, I can't thank you enough for doing this.
No, absolutely. Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah, pleasure being on here, of course.